Hello everyone. This video is kind of in response to the last video I made, which was about the Maritime Mobile Service Net. I knew when I made that video that it might get some response, but I just didn't expect quite as much as it did get. I didn't expect there to be right at this moment almost 100 comments that have been posted about it, and most of the comments have been, I guess I would label it anti toward the net. And that's I said all along that it was okay. I'm whatever your opinion is, you were welcome to share it there, as long as you were not rude about it. And out of all the comments that there were, I only deleted 2 that I thought went too far. It were just outright rude. And I think I gave people quite a bit of leeway to express themselves without deleting. I don't mind that somebody doesn't see things the way I do. I think one thing I wanted to ask in this video was, why can't we as hams get along? Why do we have to be at each other's throats so much? I don't know. I don't know whether we just have to chalk it up to human nature or what. I really was surprised that what goes on just one frequency on one band would cause so much of a ruckus. I would have thought that if there was one frequency on one band that would have caused that, it would have been the notorious frequency on 40 meters, 7.200. I could understand that maybe, and I would hope that everybody, even the ones who posted comments against the Maritime Mobile Service Net, would at least agree on that. So it does kind of surprise me that what goes on one frequency would upset so many people, whether you agree or not with what they do. I did want to share one thing that kind of similar experience that I've had, and I've never told this to anyone, any hams, about this, and I'll get to why. A couple of years ago, I was operating in the state QSO party for where I live. I live in Tennessee, and it was a Tennessee QSO party. It got to be evening time, and I switched bands over to 80 meters. I went to the 75 meter phone part of the band, and I found a frequency that didn't seem to be in use. Listened for a little bit, didn't hear anything, and I asked if the frequency was in use. I didn't hear anybody, and I paused. I asked a second time if the frequency was in use, and after the second time, before I could ever start calling CQ, mind you, somebody came on, and they proceeded to let me know that I was splattering all over them. They were about 2 kilohertz up or so, and I was splattering all over them. And I told them, well, I'm sorry, I asked if the frequency was in use, and this is the kicker to me. He proceeded to kind of scold me, telling me that I should have been able to tell the frequency was in use. I should have heard them. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear them operating there before. And mind you, I asked if the frequency was in use twice. And all that time, didn't hear anything until he came on the frequency I was on and told me that. And as far as splattering, I may have been, but I mean, I only run 100 watts here. I don't even own an amplifier. But maybe I was. That could be. But you know what I've done? I didn't make a big deal out of it. I didn't argue with him. I said, well, I'm sorry. Gave my call sign, and I QSY. I turned the VFO, and I went to another frequency, went on about calling CQ, and that was the end of it to me. I did not get on social media and make a post about it. I didn't get on Reddit and make a post about it. I didn't make a YouTube video about it. I never came up in a conversation with another hound before. I didn't tell anybody at a club meeting or anything other time. Never said a word to anybody about it. It wasn't that big a deal. Did I think the guy was rude? Yeah, I think he was rude. But I be honest with you, I just kind of laughed about it afterwards. It's like, wow, okay. As my dear sweet grandmother would have said, I thought he was just being kind of silly, But the point was, I didn't get all butthurt about it and make a big deal out of it. To me, just life's too short to be getting that upset about something like that. I mean, if he'd gone so far as to start calling me names, cussing me out, I might have felt different about that. But just because he had a rude nature about the way he told me, okay, fine, whatever. I'm just going to go on. There's plenty of other frequencies. So that's the way I look at that. Why make a big deal out of it? Some people are going to be that way, and I don't know. I don't monitor 14.300 all the time. Occasionally, rare occasions, I'm doing something here around the shack. I'm not on the radio, but doing something else. That's the frequency that I might happen to turn to just to monitor, just to listen, just to have something going on in the background. And when I have, I've never heard, anybody be rude to anybody if they happen to come on that frequency. But I can't say that that's never happened because I don't monitor it all the time. So I don't know. Maybe that has happened. Maybe it was a net control operator if it did. Maybe it was just somebody that checked into the net and thought they were doing their duty to assist the net control and do that. When the person who was on the frequency couldn't hear net control, and they thought they were gonna help out and do that, and they were rude about it. I don't know. Maybe. I can't say. But I just think we ought to all try to get along. And I don't see any need to get all upset about what goes on one frequency. Long as they're not carrying on about the way that the people on the frequency I mentioned on 40 meters, I mean, that's pretty bad. But I think a lot of us just know, hey, that's there. Stay away from it, If you don't like what goes on 14.300, if you don't like that net existing, I guess just stay away from it. I will say this. Not long after I made that video, and before I posted it, I think, I was getting ready to post it, editing it, getting it ready, and I happened to have the volume turned up and the radio was still on 14.300. Somebody pointed out, oh, talking about me, he must not, he says he don't have an opinion, but he's got his radio parked on 14.300. Yeah, I had it on that frequency. I don't see what's wrong with it being on there anyway. But when the intro to the video was the radio turned to that frequency because that's what the video was about. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I had it on there as I was getting ready to post this and had the volume up. And what did I hear? Somebody playing music over the top of the net that they were running. And I know later on, I happened to have it by there, and and heard somebody whistling into the microphone. So, is that any way to act just because you don't like that net? I don't get it. We're not helping out ham radio in general. Even if you don't like what they do, even if that's not your cup of tea, there's a lot of things that I don't do in ham radio. There's a lot of things I haven't gotten into that I don't put other people down for. I've never, got into the Parks on the Air. I've got good friends, ham radio friends that do that, and I have nothing against it. I think that's fine. That's great. It's putting activity on the bands. I've just never gotten into it. I spend some of my time chasing DX when I am on the radio and things like that. But I don't, just because I don't do that, I don't put it down. I've never gotten into digital modes, FT8 or whatever. It's just not something I've been interested in, but I don't criticize other people that are interested in it, So, I think we just all have to learn how to get along. And my point is, that's just, if you don't like what goes on there, if you think that it's a useless net, if you don't like how long that they occupy that frequency, it's just one frequency. Why get all upset about it and make a big deal? There's plenty of other frequencies that you can use. So that's what I just wish that we could all kind of learn how to get along. I do have one other little point here. I'm trying not to make this video too long. This could almost be another video. One of the things that comes up when some of the people are criticizing this net, and they'll criticize other activity too, other hams, is they'll refer to them as a bunch of sad old hams. The sad part, okay, that's, you think they're sad or you think they complain or whatever. As somebody who's 68 years old now, I get tired of hearing younger hams criticizing older hams, or using age as some kind of criticism. And in particular, this, you will hear people criticizing some of the guys that are especially maybe on 75 meters. Some of the people that hang out there, and they talk about how it's just a bunch of old guys, talking about all their aches and pains and their doctor's visits and stuff like that. I just got this to say to you. Good Lord willing, you'll be old one day. Take my word for it. You will be old one day, and it'll happen before you know it too. I'm 68 years old, and sometimes it doesn't seem that it hasn't been that long ago that I was in my 40s. I ask myself, where did time go? I don't spend my time on the radio talking about aches and pains. I'm lucky I don't have a lot of for somebody my age. I don't have a lot of medical problems. I do have bad knees and arthritis, but I don't think I've ever really gone into talking about it on the radio. But if I did, so what? Why do you want to criticize people because of their age, and because they're talking about the aches and pains they have? And I'll add one more thing about that. Within the last couple of weeks, I happened to be turning around on 40 meters, just turning around, and I heard a couple of guys talking, and I stopped and listened for a second, and I could tell by their voice they were on up in age, and they were talking about doctor's appointments and medical problems, and it come up about how old one of them was. And I don't remember his exact age, but one of them was well up into his 90s. And that got me to thinking about that very thing, how some younger hams want to mention that about older hams on the radio, just talking about nothing but their aches and pains. And I thought, really? This guy's 90-something years old. Bless his heart. He seemed like he was still pretty sharp, was there on the radio, enjoying being on the radio. Just because he's happens to be talking about, some medical procedures or whatever, and aches and pains he has at that age, what's the big deal? I hope that, I get to be that age, I still got a good enough mind and still able to get in here and get on the radio. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Whether I'm going, I've thought about whether I should just delete that video. I hope it doesn't cause any problems like what I was talking about with people because of what they read on that video, going to 14.300 and trying to interfere with anything there. I mean, whether you like them running that net or not, is it any reason for anybody to be coming on there and causing interference and trying to jam that frequency? I don't think so. So I don't know whether I should delete the video or not. And I'm not trying to be vain. I don't know that my little YouTube channel has got enough attention that it could cause that or did cause that. I hadn't posted the video at that time, so that particular instance, I'm sure it didn't. But I don't know. Not sure what I'll do there. But as I said before, I just wish we could all get along. And I don't know why we have to be criticizing everybody else. So anyway, till next time, 73 everybody.